suffering beings everywhere. So studying Sri Sarada Devi's divine play as given to us by Swami Chetanananda, we're in a section about the relationship between Holy Mother and a woman named Deva Mata. Jyotirmayi Basu, a disciple of Holy Mother, recalled Deva Mata, an American woman, used to visit Holy Mother at Udbodhan House every morning at 7 a.m. We heard from the mother that she, Deva Mata, Deva Mata had had a vision of the master in America and later recognized him in a photo shown to her by Swamiji. She lived at 47 Bushpara Lane, Bagbazar. Deva Mata used to meditate in the mother's room, and tears would flow from her eyes out of devotion. It was hard to believe without seeing those wonderful tears. Now, this is one of Mother's disciples, Jyotirmayi Basu, telling us this. The mother often sat with us in her room and fed Radhu, before she left for school, before Radhu left for school. One day when Radhu's meal was finished, the mother began to clean that place and we were watching it. But out of exuberant devotion, Deva Mata rushed to her saying, Mata Devi, as she picked up Radhu's cup and plate and cleaned the floor. Seeing that Deva Mata's cloth had touched the defiled plate, Nalini laughed loudly. Seeing that Deva Mata's cloth had touched the defiled plate, Nalini laughed loudly. Immediately, the mother signaled her with her eyes to keep quiet. When Deva Mata went to the washroom with those dirty dishes, the mother said to Nalini, that girl does not know our language and customs, and you laughed out loud. She might think she had done something wrong. Thinking of this, later she will get pain. Mother's compassion was endless, just endless. She was always being alert to the social and emotional situation around her. And I can imagine that her tone of voice in speaking to Nalini was rather stern. Deva Mata doesn't know our language and our customs, and you laughed out loud. She might think that she had done something wrong. Thinking of this later, she will get pain. So this is the kind of corrective that if we approach the mother, we can expect to receive ourselves. It'll arise as an intuitive feeling within us. Oh, that just wasn't the way to behave. Oh my, this is an interesting story. Holy Mother and Betty Leggett. Betty Leggett was Frank Leggett's wife. Frank Leggett was a mercantilist in Manhattan, wealthy. He had a very nice place in Manhattan itself, but he also had Ridgely Manor. Ridgely Manor was and is in Stone Ridge, New York, about 75 miles north and a little west of Manhattan on the west bank of the Hudson. So Betty Leggett and her sister Josephine, they were the MacLeod sisters, M-A-C-L-E-O-D, MacLeod sisters, before Betty married Frank. Betty Leggett was a bright, entertaining, but she was a good student of Swamiji. She and Josephine, who is also known as Tantine, So in any case, we're about to hear about Betty Leggett. Frank Leggett and Swamiji were good friends. And when Frank Leggett's business associates in Manhattan asked, I'll just put it in today's vernacular, what are you doing hanging around with that raghead? You know, somebody who wears a turban on his head. What are you doing hanging around with that raghead? Frank Leggett says, that man has more common sense than anyone I've ever known. And of course, that was just the thing to say to these businessmen because they had great respect for Frank Leggett. And if he had that opinion of Swamiji, that would be significant to them. Swamiji called Frank Leggett frankincense, and they were dear friends. Holy Mother and Betty Leggett. Toward the end of 1912, Betty Leggett visited Holy Mother. She was the sister of Miss MacLeod and a great admirer and helper of Swami Vivekananda's Vedanta work. She donated 10,000 rupees to Bellarmine. Now, 10,000 rupees in the early 1900s was a lot of money. But she was wealthy. You know, Frank Leggett was wealthy. And of course, it wasn't just her, it was also Frank Leggett donating that money. She donated 10,000 rupees to Bellarmine to construct a guest house for Westerners, which is now the president's quarters. And it's a very, very nice, I visited it in 1999. It's very nice, very well appointed, very nicely laid out, and in a beautiful part of the Bellarmine grounds. So she helped construct a guest house for Westerners, which is now the president's quarters. She also donated 20,000 rupees to build Leggett House to be used as a monk's quarters. Now, you know, we wouldn't normally think of naming something after ourselves in this case. So I can imagine that it wasn't Betty's idea or Frank's idea, that it was the monks, and probably Sarada Devi, that I'm just guessing. But in any event, I don't think that Betty or Frank would have had the kind of selfishness and self-centeredness that they would say, oh, we'll give you the money if you name it after us. You know, like you see wings of hospitals and so on, named after people. Betty's daughter Alberta and son-in-law, the Earl of Sandwich, were also devoted to Swamiji, and they also met Holy Mother. On January 1913, Betty wrote to her sister, that is Josephine or Tantine, Alberta had vast and intense experiences with Sarada Devi, and I have my own. So you can see by the language, the kind of personality that Betty had. Alberta had vast and intense experiences with Sarada Devi, and I have my own. I went to the little house at Bug Bazaar to see her and stayed endlessly. She was quite free, with head and hands uncovered. Again, in the presence of women, Mother was not veiled. But for her to be that way with Western women, that was what was remarkable. She was quite free, with head and hands uncovered, calm and beneficent, with the little women crawling to her feet and putting them aside gently. With the little women, I assume Mother's attendants, crawling to her feet and putting them aside gently in removed places and having a mat spread for me. She told me how she loved you and Alberta and how I was to tell you to come again with me to see her. She related anecdotes of her early life when at 15, She sought her husband and from impulse set out alone and was lost and in a forest and overtaken by a notorious robber. Listen now very carefully to this wonderful story as told by this ebullient personality, Betty Leggett. At 15, she set out to find her husband and was lost in a forest and there overtaken by a notorious robber. She approached him and said, "Father, I have lost my way. Show me the way out of the forest." Whereupon he fell at her feet and then led her to his hut, where he and his wife both bowed and worshipped her. Now, the way this story is told is Mother did not manifest any divine form. It was just the way she dealt with them. Because they were robbers did not mean they did not have great intuition, great sense. These dacoits, they're not ordinary thugs, some of them. Anyway. So they fell at her feet and worshiped her and fed her and helped her. The wife fed Mother very lovingly in that instance. I have ordered one of the Holy Mother's photographs, as it is both very excellent of her and of a beautiful woman. She took my face in her hands several times and kissed her hands, and we parted several times with much emotion. Now, you may not know that this is a way of expressing affection among the Bengalis. I don't know if it's throughout India, but to touch someone's chin or to touch someone's face and then kiss your hands, it's as if you're kissing them. So she took my face in her hands several times and kissed her hands, and we parted several times with much emotion, in other words, tears. And Mother was very much like that. I visited all her rooms and objects and images and pictures and thought of a similar simplicity and almost poverty of our Madonna, who must have been so like her at 50. So Mother at this time, 1912, 1913. Our Madonna, by that, she of course means Mary, the Mother of Christ. And thought of the similar simplicity and almost poverty of our Madonna, who must have been so like her at 50. When I had gone all over the house, I found her at the head of the stairs, fairly radiant, again taking my face in her hands and blessing me. I had tears, and I thought she said, I had tears and I thought she had. I had tears and I thought she had, but I couldn't see for my own. So this is that bright, ebullient personality of Betty Leggett. And blessedly, that house that Frank Leggett built, Ridgely Manor as it's called, remained in the family. The Earl of Sandwich had a son, and that son was the one who sold that whole property. It had been 120 acres, but by the time it was purchased by the Ramakrishna Foundation, it was just 83 acres. But it remained in the family, and it never had any other use put to it, but as a home for people who were in this family relationship with Swami Vivekananda. So it's a very blessed place. If you ever get a chance to go, please do. As I say, it's 75 miles north of Manhattan, very easily accessible. You take a bus from the transit center there, the main transit center. You take a bus, and where the bus lets you off, I've forgotten the name of the little town, but you can find it on their website. They come and fetch you and take you to the manor, and the women stay in the women's guest house, and the men stay in the men's guest house, and the nuns live in the manor house itself and maintain it. And you can go and you can visit the room where Swamiji stayed. There's an absolutely transcendently serene shrine there that's been created. That was created by Swami Atmarupananda when he was the head there. He was the first monk assigned by Swami Swahananda to take charge there. It's now in the charge of two nuns, Gita Prana and Shuddhatma Prana. And it's a lovely place to visit. And for the men who go, they'll stay in the men's guest house and be in the care of a man named Bill Davis, someone I've known since the 1980s, dear man. So you'll be well taken care of when you're there if you go. And I hope someday, you all get a chance to go. Before we go on, now we're going to hear about a bunch of other Western devotees. Any comments or questions so far from anyone about what we've read?
Well, Brother Shankara.
Yes, Sham.
We were there at Ridgely, about 3-4 years back.
Yes.
And we stayed about 3 or 4 days, and it was a nice experience.
I'm sure, yes.
We couldn't see that, unfortunately, the tree under which Swamiji meditated is no longer there because it was destroyed due to some lightning or something.
Yes, it was hit by lightning, that's right.
Yes, yeah, but that place is still marked.
Yes,
nice.
And there's a new tree growing there.
Yeah, that's right. And Swamiji's sofa is still there. It's, I think, blue color sofa on which Swamiji used to relax or something.
Swamiji's pine, it's called, yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm really glad that you said that, Sham, that you let people know. It is a great place to go.
Okay. Another thing which I wanted to ask you wasn't Frank Leggett the president of the New York Vedanta Society at one time?
Yes, he was. When Swami Vivekananda founded it in 1894, Frank Leggett was the president for some time.
Okay, but
I forget who replaced him, Turiyananda or Obedananda.
Yeah, but he had to resign because of something. I don't know. There were some reasons, something like that.
Oh, there's always,
Yeah, so
human beings are human beings, and so.
Yeah.
So we always have that aspect.
Anyway,
but, yeah.
Thank you.
You bet, Sean. Anything else from anyone? Okay. Holy Mother and other Western devotees. When flowers bloom, bees come of their own accord. As the spiritual consort of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother attracted many people who came to her for spiritual help or blessing. Now, I always want to underline this. Mother has not gone anywhere. You can do just as they did. You can go to her for help or spiritual blessing. She said, remember, when you are in distress, you have a mother. Actually, she said it, when you are in distress, remember, you have a mother. And so we can turn to her for help, for blessing. It's very important for us to keep that in mind. Now, that doesn't mean she'll solve all our problems. Our karma is also an issue. And if we still have lessons to learn, Mother will help us learn those lessons. As she said, all suffering is a blessing. So I just always want to point that out, that Mother has not gone anywhere any more than Sri Ramakrishna has. A lady from Poland came to India to learn Vedanta. She belonged to the Baha'i faith and was familiar with Ramakrishna's teachings about the harmony of religions, which is one of the great articles of faith of the Baha'is, the harmony of religions. She heard about Holy Mother and visited her on 24 April 1912. During British rule, many Westerners lived in Calcutta, and some of them learned the Bengali language. Sarjubala Devi, a disciple of Holy Mother, recorded the following interview of a Western woman with Holy Mother. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, after the worship in the shrine. Rushbury Maharaj said, a European lady has come to pay her respects to you. She has been waiting for a long time. The mother asked him to bring the lady to her. As she bowed down before the mother, the latter clasped the lady's hands. Ladies clasped the lady's hand as one does in shaking hands. The words of the master that one should behave according to time and circumstances were verified in this instance. In other words, the woman had obviously extended her hand when she was bowing down, and Mother took it as if shaking hands. Then she kissed the lady by touching her chin. The latter knew Bengali, the Western woman, the latter knew Bengali, and said, I hope I have not inconvenienced you by this visit. I have been waiting for a long time downstairs to see you. I am in great difficulty. My only daughter, a very good girl, is dangerously ill. So I have come here to crave your favor and blessings. Please be gracious to her so that she may be cured. She is such a nice girl. I praise her because one seldom finds nowadays a good woman among us. I can vouch that many of them are wicked and evil-minded, but my daughter is of quite a different nature. Please be kind to her. Mother, I shall pray for your daughter. She will be cured. Mother, I shall pray for your daughter. She will be cured. The European lady was much encouraged by this assurance from Holy Mother and said, when you say that she will be cured, she shall be cured. There's no doubt about it. It reminds us of Jesus and the centurion. The centurion's son, no, his servant, his very much loved servant was very ill. And so he sent to Jesus. He sent one of his soldiers to Jesus saying, the centurion requests that you cure his servant. And Jesus said, such faith I have not seen in all Israel. Go and tell your master his servant is cured. And that was the case, according to the Gospels. So this woman's faith, Jesus said, it is the faith that creates the circumstances of the cure. So this woman said, if you say she'll be cured, she'll be cured. There's no doubt about it. She spoke these words thrice with great faith and emphasis. The mother with a kind look said to Golapma, please give her a flower from the altar. Bring a lotus. Golapma brought a lotus with a sacred bell leaf. The mother took the lotus in her hand and closed her eyes for a few moments. Then she looked wistfully at the image of Sri Ramakrishna and gave the flower to the lady, saying, please touch your daughter's head with this. This always just brings me to tears. Please touch your daughter's head with this. The woman accepted the flower with folded hands and bowed down before the mother. What shall I do with the flower after that? She asked. Golapma, when it is dried, throw it into the Ganges. Lady, no, this belongs to God. I can't throw it away. I shall make a bag out of a new piece of cloth and preserve the flower in it. I shall touch my daughter's head and body every day with it. Mother, very well, do that. Lady, God is the supreme reality. He exists. I want to tell you something. A few days ago, a baby was bedridden. With fever in my house. With great fervor, I prayed to God, "Oh Lord, I feel that you exist, but I want an actual demonstration." I wept and laid my handkerchief on the table. After a long time, I was surprised to find 3 sticks in its folds. I gently touched the body of the baby thrice with the 3 sticks. Soon it was cured of the fever. As she narrated the incident, teardrops trickled down from her cheeks. She said, "I have taken much of your valuable time. Please forgive me." "No," said the mother. "I am greatly pleased to talk to you. Come here again on Tuesday." Now, as we all know, Tuesday, as today, is a day sacred to the mother, Tuesdays and Saturdays. "No," said the mother, "I'm greatly pleased to talk to you. Come here again on Tuesday." The following Tuesday, the mother showed her special favor and initiated her. Her daughter, too, was cured of her illness. So mother drew her back to her so that she could give her the supreme gift, this initiation. The following Tuesday, the mother showed her special favor and initiated the woman. Her daughter, too, was cured of her illness. Although Holy Mother was shy, a shy, Orthodox village woman, her altruistic love bound these Western women to her. She did not know any Western language or Western etiquette or culture, but her love and affection, simplicity and sincerity, compassion and spiritual power overwhelmed these devotees and removed all barriers. Love is reciprocal. It melts human hearts. It melts human hearts, and then it unites them together. Now, this is Swami Chetanananda writing. Holy Mother did not know any Western language or Western etiquette or culture, but her love and affection, simplicity and sincerity, compassion and spiritual power overwhelmed these devotees and removed all barriers. Love is reciprocal. It melts human hearts, and then it unites them together. Now, this is Chetanananda offering us some very, very profound guidance. If we offer love with sincerity, it will be reciprocated. Maybe not in the moment, but it will be reciprocated. In the book now, next thing we see is a picture of Girish Chandra Ghosh, who was an amazing human being. And I think we're probably going to hear something about him now. Girish Chandra Ghosh, actor and playwright. There's just a bunch of footnotes here. I'm just looking at them to see if there's anything. Yeah, this I think is worth our attention. Holy Mother showed her love and affection in this way. She would touch the chin of the dearest one with her right fingertips and then touch her fingers with her lips while making a kissing sound. So that's what I was trying to describe. So now, chapter 15, Holy Mother and Girish Chandra Ghosh. Holy Mother and Girish Chandra Ghosh. So there's a stotram by Adi Shankaracharya. Nowhere exists in all the world another sinner equal to me. Nowhere a power like myself for overcoming sinfulness. O godless, keeping this in mind, do thou with me as it pleases thee. So this is referring to someone like Girish Chandra Ghosh. Nowhere exists in all the world another sinner equal to me. Nowhere a power like thyself for overcoming sinfulness. O Goddess, keeping this in mind, do thou with me as it pleases thee. During Ramakrishna's lifetime, the great Bengali playwright Girish Chandra Ghosh publicly declared him to be an avatar. As for Holy Mother, Girish also held her in high esteem as the wife of his guru and cherished great respect for her. One day, Girish was pacing back and forth on the roof of his house with his wife, Pramodini, when Holy Mother was on the roof of Balaram's house. One day, Girish was pacing back and forth on the roof of his house with his wife, Pramodini, when Holy Mother was on the roof of Balaram's house nearby. Girish Girish's wife noticed her and said to him, "Look, there is the mother walking on the roof." Girish at once turned his face away and replied, "No, no, my eyes are sinful. I won't look at her that way. I cannot be a sneak." In other words, peek at her when she doesn't know he's looking. I cannot be a sneak. Immediately he went downstairs. It is said that the exceptional good fortune of his second wife, oh, can you read that, Balakrishna?
Surat Kumari.
Say it again, please.
Surat Kumari.
Surat Kumari. The exceptional good fortune of his second wife, Surat Kumari, brought Girish fame, wealth, and the grace of the master. Girish and she had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. When his son was born, almost 2 years after the passing, Surat Kumari became very ill. Girish arranged for her treatment, which continued for a year. Nonetheless, she died on 26 December 1888. Grief-stricken, Girish tried to occupy himself by studying mathematics and caring for his little son. Girish had once asked the master to be born as his son, so he believed that this boy was Ramakrishna reincarnated. He served the boy wholeheartedly. Girish bought new clothes, cups, glasses, and plates for him. He did not allow anyone else to use those things. Girish's first meeting with Holy Mother. In September 1890, Holy Mother was staying at Soindra Thakur's house in Baranagar. Girish was still grieving for his wife, and Swami Niranjanananda knew this. He insisted that Girish visit Holy Mother. Girish paid his first visit to Holy Mother at Baranagar with his 3-year-old son. The little boy could not speak and expressed himself through sounds and gestures. As they entered the house, the little boy who had seen Holy Mother before, anxiously pointed at the upper floor where Holy Mother lived and called out, "Ooh, ooh." One of Holy Mother's attendants took him upstairs, and he rolled on the ground before her. Presently he came down and began to pull at his father's hand. Girish burst out crying and said, Girish was a very emotional man. Girish burst out crying and said, "How can I go to the mother? I am a great sinner." But the boy would not leave him alone. Finally, he took his son in his arms and climbed the stairs, his body trembling and tears flowing from his eyes. He put the boy down, then fell flat at Holy Mother's feet and said, "It is through my son that I see your sacred feet." Holy Mother always took the boy on her lap whenever she saw him. Unfortunately, the boy died not long afterwards. There's reason to believe that boy really was a partial incarnation of Sri Ramakrishna. He did agree. Girish pestered him so about being born as his son that Sri Ramakrishna finally gave his assent. So it's very likely that boy was a partial incarnation of Sri Ramakrishna, but he didn't stay long. Girish's faith in the Holy Mother. In his early life, Girish had used alcohol in an attempt to relieve the grief he felt at the death of his first wife. Now he was determined to use divine intoxication to relieve the anguish of losing his second wife and his youngest son. Oh, Balakrishna, please.
Yeah. Kumudbandhu
Kumudbandhu Sen wrote in his reminiscences, whenever Girish Ghosh referred to Sri Ramakrishna and the Holy Mother, his manner of expression was extraordinarily superb and different from that of other devotees. His deep reverence for and strong faith in the divinity and unbounded grace were expressed in his utterances, and he inspired those who heard him. Once Girish told me that at first he and other lay devotees of Sri Ramakrishna did not recognize the greatness of Holy Mother. Girish said, "We used to pay our respectful tribute to her as the spiritual consort of our master. We looked upon him alone as our guide, friend, father, and mother, all combined. It was Niranjan, later Swami Chetanananda, who opened my eyes." Niranjan, by the way, is an interesting character. If you want to read in, I forget what it's called, whether it's called They Lived with Him or They Lived with God or God Lived with Them. Anyway, the book about the monastic disciples, you find a section on Niranjan, who was Niranjan. He was a fierce character and a protector of Sri Ramakrishna. He is to this day. It was Niranjan, later Swami Niranjanananda, who opened my eyes. In the midst of the great tragedies of life, stricken with grief and sorrow, I felt for a time quite perplexed and could not console my disturbed mind. During my sad bereavement, Niranjan often came to me and tried to divert my mind with spiritual talk. One day I told him, "Brother Niranjan, it is a pity that I cannot now see Sri Ramakrishna, who is my shelter, my only refuge." Niranjan interrupted me, saying, "Why? Mother is there. Is there any difference between the master and mother? Can you imagine Narayana without Lakshmi, Shiva without Parvati, Rama without Sita, and Krishna without Radha or Rukmini?" I was taken aback. I told him, "What do you say? The master and mother are one and the same?" Niranjan replied, "Well, you believe that Sri Ramakrishna was an avatar, God incarnate in human form. Do you mean to say that he took an ordinary woman, Jiva, as his spiritual partner in his divine life? Do you mean to say he took an ordinary woman as his spiritual partner in his divine life? You must remember the words of our master. Brahman and Shakti are one and the same, though in manifestation they appear to us as two. Mother is Shakti, the Shakti of Purna Brahman Ramakrishna." His words cleared my vision, and I at once recognized the Divine Mother, the Mother of the universe, incarnated as Holy Mother for the salvation of mankind. Now, when you have to grasp the sincerity of Girish Ghosh. Girish Ghosh was absolutely uncompromising in his truthfulness and his sincerity. So when he says that his vision was cleared and this is what he saw, this is what he saw. It wasn't some imagination, some intellectualization, some thought. This is what he saw. His words cleared my vision, and I at once recognized the Divine Mother, the Mother of the universe, incarnated as Holy Mother for the salvation of mankind. I felt a strong urge to go to Jairambati and see our Holy Mother, who alone could wipe away my tears and remove my sorrow over my recent adversities. Niranjan approved of my suggestion and offered to accompany me there. But Balaram Basu vehemently opposed this proposal, as he did not like the idea that I should disturb Holy Mother with my worldly problems and miseries. At that time, Swami Vivekananda was away from Calcutta, and the matter was referred to him by Niranjan. Getting his approval, getting Swamiji's approval, we started for Jairambati. I could hardly express my joy when I first went to Kamarpuku, to the cottage where Sri Ramakrishna was born. It was like a rishi's holy hermitage. The scenery and surrounding environment were enchanting. Thence we proceeded to Jairambati. There, during my stay, I directly asked the mother, "Well, mother, are you my real mother or an adopted mother?" And now, just listen, because this is for all of us. The mother said, "Yes, I am your real mother." Further, Girish Ghosh told us in forceful language, pregnant with deep emotion, "Yes, mother, the divine mother, has appeared as a poor village girl living in a remote hamlet, away from the din and bustle of a town where life reflects only the formal and artificial ways of worldly wise and sophisticated men and women. I did not ask for anything from mother. As soon as I went to her, all my sorrow and misery vanished completely, and I felt a supreme serenity of mind, which I had never experienced before. Oh, those days were spent in heavenly bliss and joy." One day at the mother's place at Jairambati, a minstrel, Haridas Vairagi of Deshra, came and sang a Bengali song to the accompaniment of a broken violin. A free English rendering of the song is given below. "O Uma, my darling, what good tidings I hear. People say you are adored in Varanasi as Annapurna. Is it true? O Gauri, when I married you to Shiva, he went as a beggar from door to door for a morsel of food. But today, how glad I am to hear you are now queen of the world, seated by his side. And they called my naked Shiva a madman. How much abuse I had to hear from everyone. Now I hear that doorkeepers guard his palace, and gods like Indra, Chandra, and Yama hardly can see him. Shiva used to live in the Himalayas. Many a day he got his food by begging. Now he rules over Varanasi and is rich as Kuvera. Now he rules over Varanasi and is rich as Kuvera. Is it you who have brought him all this good fortune? No doubt he is very rich now. Else why should Gauri be so proud? She does not cast her eyes even upon her own children, and she turns away from Radhika." When the minstrel finished singing the song, Girish Ghosh, Swami Niranjanananda, and others who heard it could not restrain their tears. The mother too shed tears, as did all her women companions. The song reminded them of Holy Mother's early life, when Sri Ramakrishna was often referred to as the mad son-in-law by the people of Jairambati, when her own parents repented giving her in marriage to Sri Ramakrishna, and her neighbors pitied her and expressed sorrow at her miserable fate. She did not and could not then protest, and she humbly suffered all those humiliating remarks in silence though she knew in her innermost heart that her husband was a God-intoxicated man, far above ordinary people. She tasted divine bliss whenever she came in contact with her husband. She did not go to anybody's house or attend social functions in Jairamati, lest people make humiliating remarks about her husband and blame her for her ill luck. Now that Sri Ramakrishna is revered as a prophet and as an avatar and is worshipped in many places, now that Sri Ramakrishna is revered as a prophet and an avatar and is worshipped in many places, people come to her for darshan, even in that village, which is situated in an out-of-the-way place. The Holy Mother is now regarded by many devotees as the mother of the universe. Okay, we've got just 6 minutes left. So I want to leave time for comments and questions. Anything at all from anyone? Please, this is the time when you have a chance to speak up, to ask a question, to share with us what's in your heart. Anything at all.
It is so wonderful, Shankaraji. Mother said, the mother said, yes, I am your real mother.
Yes.
Like Ramakrishna saying, Rama and Krishna, they both are here.
Yes, he who was Rama, he who was Krishna, is present in this, pointing to his body, as Ramakrishna. So who was born as Rama? Who was born as Krishna? Who did Ramakrishna's father see in a vision at Gaya? Vishnu. So that's what he meant. He who was born as Rama, he who was born as Krishna is present in this as Ramakrishna. And he later said at the end of his life, there are two here. By that time, the mother had established herself fully as a presence in him. That was always the potential, but it had actually fully manifested itself. So he said, there are two here, pointing to his body, the mother and her worshiper. And that, of course, is Vishnu. So you're right, Balakrishna, it was, and it is something for us to just hold to with both hands.
Yes.
The sustainer and protector of the universe, as well as the great mother herself, are present as Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. Anything else from anyone?
Yeah, I want to ask you one question, Brother Shankara.
Yes, Sham.
Did Girish become a sannyasi at any time?
No, never. Oh, he never took any vows of any kind. He remained a householder for all his life, but he became an absolute saint. The young monks who would join the order were sent to 2 or 3 people in Calcutta. One of them was Girish, another was M. Mahendranath Gupta. He became his life was lived in this serene bliss that people could feel when they came into his presence. So was he a sannyasin as defined by Krishna in the Gita? Yes. Did he take any formal vows? No. Good question, Sean. Thank you. Anything else?
Namaste, Brother Shankara. Namaste, everybody.
Yes.
There are a couple of things I would like to just share. One is that, continuing with what you said, I think Swami Vivekananda once went, and this was much late, maybe early 1900 or something, before he passed away. He went and met Girish Ghosh in Varanasi. And in that, when his visit was done, he said, he visited actually Girish where he was staying in that place, and he said that the very doors and the windows of that place are holy now. That much tapas Girish Ghosh has done.
Mm.
So that's what I remember. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. Mm.
One more thing I would like to just a thought, a comment. It's not kind of a judgment or anything. When Girish Ghosh, you read, Brother Shankara, that when his wife passed away, he was grief-stricken, and then obviously he visited mother, and I've been thinking about all this COVID and the situation. My parents are much older, and there is a chance there is someone who very close vicinity passed away because of COVID there, and there are so many people who are affected by that.
Yes.
And I often look at this situation and say, what is my relationship with my spouse, because there are a lot of people who are being left behind. One of them passes away, one of them stays, and we all have to go through this experience. Those who are married, and of course, Brother Shankara, it firsthand.
Yes.
And I think that if we divinize our relationship, I'm not suggesting, I'm just telling myself to experience that, to divinize our relationship so that we appreciate what that person is there, when they are alive and they are there. Not, later on, obviously, the grief is too much. So that's one thing, and obviously looking towards your wife as a whole, Divine Mother, that's way up there. I'm not there yet. But just looking at the divine being, even your kids or any family member, it just helps. And I think, Brother Shankara, you have pointed that out to me in the past about it.
Yes, and it's so good to read that portion of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad where Yajnavalkya is explaining to Maitri that it is for the sake of the self that we love anything at all. As he starts off by saying, it is not for the sake of the wife that the husband loves the wife. It is for the sake of the self. And so we may, when we first encounter our beloved, there's all this infatuation and love and all, human love. And that's all very well and good. That's fine. That's just as it should be. And as John Dobson pointed out, and then there are children, you may have noticed. So this is all well and good. So, but later on, as you just said so appropriately, Shailesh, you have to divinize that relationship and take it to another level so that nothing in it becomes an impediment for you. And you're just absolutely right. And if one has the good fortune to be able to do that, it makes for a very harmonious married relationship.
Correct.
So yes, thanks for bringing that up. Anything else from anyone? Well, the last sentence we read is the Holy Mother. The Holy Mother is now regarded by many devotees as the mother of the universe. And that certainly is true. That certainly is true. There's actually been research done on it. A woman named Amrita Salm, who is a PhD from Berkeley in education, did some research. You can find, you can look it up. Amrita Salm research on the mother. Amrita, we all know how to spell that. Her last name is S-A-L-M. Yeah, she did this research. This was maybe in the 90s, I think in the 90s. So anything else from anyone? All right, dears. Well, until next time, tomorrow night, of course, we study the Gita. And then Saturday morning, realizing God. And Sunday, another talk related to Jnana Yoga. So, Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Abir Moiti. O dearly beloved, lead us from thy lesser truth to thy highest truth. Lead us from darkness and ignorance to the brilliance of thy wisdom and love. Lead us from death to immortality. Light us through and through. Light us through and through with thy everlasting shining presence. Just a note on why the translation of Om Asato Ma Satkamaya, why that translation is lead us from thy lesser truth to thy highest truth. You may remember that Swami Vivekananda remarked, we do not move from error to truth. We move, if you will, from lesser truth to higher truth. So that's why that's translated that way. And of course, he was pointing to the fact that the duality we experience is in a sense a lesser truth in that it is dual, but it is Shakti. It is the manifestation. It is the mother herself. So that's why that translation that way. And as always, though we can't say good night in the parking lot, which would be lovely, we'll say it this way: Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai, Durga Durga Durga. Go in Mother's loving and protective embrace.
Thank you, Brother Shankara. Good night.
Good night. Until next time.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Brother Shankara.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night, Shankaraji.
Good night, Balakrishna ji. Good night, good night, good night, all. Good night, Catherine.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.